in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
This is Dan Jurgen.
This is Jason J. Lewis, the voice of Superman on Justice League Action.
This is Mark Wade, writer of Superman Birthright.
And you're listening to The Krypton Report.
The Krypton Report podcast is dedicated to all things Superman, Supergirl, and the planet Krypton. We discuss movies, TV, game, comics, and all things DC. So join me, Tyler, with my co-host James and Jania. That's how we start the show. Welcome to the Krypton Report. We got you there, didn't we? Coughing and hanging, and you're probably like, who is this talking? That doesn't sound like Tyler. You're right, because my allergies are so messed up that it's not going to have a deep voice. That's right. You can call me. This is my radio voice. So welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to the show. This is our first episode in December of 2021. It's crazy. They're already at the end of December. I feel like just yesterday was Halloween. How do you feel about that, James?
November seems like a blur.
Yeah.
Not a red-blue blur.
The blur. The blur will save us. The blur. I'm like, if I was the blur, I would have to write to the Daily Planet like, no, we got to come up with a new name. No, I'm not the blur. Blah, blah, blah. Smallville. We love you. So let's just, we're having fun. We haven't got a chance to record in a while. Been busy because of the holiday and life. So it's just nice to hear your voice again, James.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Remember in that class, we had that box of Santa and Dick. I want to do that again. So will you buy that again?
It's like being Snow White with the dwarfs.
Yeah, like.
Yeah. Yeah, in your relationship, Jamie's the huntsman, and you're Snow White. Snow James. But listen, enough of our playful banter. Let's just jump into some news. Okay, so Doom Patrol ended just recently, and that was kind of crazy because there was like one day. We had one day, James, where on Thursday we had Titans, Doom Patrol, and Young Justice. Like, it was like DC's joy to me. They were like, here you guys go. Boom! And that was over shortly because I didn't realize Doom Patrol season was as short as it was. It went quick. I feel like it went really quick.
They released 2 or 3.
I think it was 3.
I think so. When that happened, like the time span. So like, it did seem like it was really fast. I have it. So.
Yeah.
Half season 3 is all
good. We can talk about it because there's one scene that was hilarious that I have no one to talk to. Oh, let's see.
Sorry,
it's all good. Batwoman is on its break. It had its like mid-season. That's like the one show that's kind of in production, like they used to do the shows. So that's cool. It's actually been really good this season. They're doing some interesting stuff. We got our first picture of what the character of Mary looks like being taken over as Poison Ivy. So that's pretty cool.
Good.
She looks cool.
It. Yeah. I've seen it. Show.
The way they're doing finding an interesting way to bring in old Batman villains but new has been really cool. It's really brought life to this season.
I mean, I have.
Let's see.
And what it is still you.
Yeah, I agree. It's gotten a lot better. It's kind of found its footing now. Let's see, we got the Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom kind of teaser poster. Just kind of Momoa's face in blue with like the trident over his face and that bluish silver. So that was cool. Just something to remind us, hey, this is happening. Yeah, remember this guy? Yes, we remember Jason Momoa. Let's see. We got Armageddon has started. As of this recording, we are in the 3rd episode of Armageddon. And it's been great. Like, it's been, you know what I can kind of compare it to is James being the Supernatural fan that he is. Remember in season 7 of Supernatural, it's like when Bobby dies and the junkyard gets, destroyed and Sam and Dean are kind of on the run. And it was a real kind of soft reboot.
Yeah.
That's kind of how this feels where, because in the next season, Sam and Dean got the bunker, and then we started like the bunker years. This feels like officially the Flash has found its way to kind of start to soft reboot with all the juggling it had to do with weaving characters in and out. And I don't know, it just feels good again. It feels fresh and I don't know. I've really enjoyed the past 3 episodes of The Flash because I feel like it's been more about The Flash. And it's great to have The Flash back. I watched all of last season, but it felt, a little disjointed, and it was like hanging out with your old friend again. Like, like hearing your voice, which I haven't heard for a while. It feels good.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I watched part, criticism online about that.
You mean like the whole last season of Supergirl was basically the Super Friends and no one really cared about Supergirl?
Yeah, something like.
So here's a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this isn't spoilers or anything. It's just I was thinking about this. So they've yet to ever use the term Justice League. Okay. So would, the alliance with Black Lightning, The Flash, Supergirl, Superman, all them, would they just be part of the moniker of the Super Friends?
I would assume. I mean, they went way back. They were using Super Friends.
Right. So I just feel like they're the Super Friends and not like the CW's Justice League. They're like the Super Friends.
Yeah.
But I threw that on Twitter.
I think that would. I think honestly, for it being that, like their brand, the way they are, their network television, I think that the Super Friends actually fit. It works. I mean, it's unique to the live action.
Right. Exactly. I agree. I was thinking about that when I watched Armageddon Part 3. All right. Batgirl has officially started production. The Batgirl movie has officially started production as of yesterday. So, all right. I'm pumped,
Yeah. Looking forward to that. Can't wait to hear. See what we're gonna. What kind of production quality they're putting.
Let's see. Here's something hilarious. So Zack Snyder tweeted his Thanksgiving turkey, and on his desk was like a copy of omnibus of Final Crisis. So every fan went out and bought Final Crisis, and like it's now like sold out everywhere.
I have yet to get a hands on a physical copy. Years. I bought it digitally.
And I just kind of laugh because people are like, oh, Final Crisis. I'm like, I thought you were comic book fans, people. I got that junk back, individual issues sitting over my short box over here. I'm old school Final Crisis. I don't have the omnibus, but I have all the main books and some of the other side books. But I'm like, I bought it when it was in the comic book stores going on. Mic drop. All you people trying to catch up. DC, they got to realize they want to. If they want to sell a book, all they have to do is get Zack Snyder holding a picture of it and tweet it. DC sells out.
For sure. Absolutely. That's hilarious.
Okay, so last happy news point. We got the trailer for the Super Pets.
Yeah.
And we got to see Krypto and Superman together. And this movie looks awesome. I cannot wait. It looks so good. It looks fun. We got, I guess, Jessica Cruz is Green Lantern. John Krasinski is now an official voice of Superman, so I got to add him to my Voice of Superman slideshow production thing, where we did the animated voices.
Right. New person.
Yep.
I mean,
Oh yeah.
Freak out about that.
Yeah, like John Krasinski as Superman, awesome. Not mention Jim as The Office.
Yep.
Which my kids are currently watching upstairs because that's what's on in the background. They're trying to go to bed. And what was up with Cyborg and his afro, though? That was kind of crazy.
Yeah, that was.
But it looks like a fun, joyful, good movie that I cannot wait to take the kids to.
Yeah, it looks like Secret Life of Pets.
Hey,
and Secret Life of Pets.
Shh, we don't compare stuff here. We don't do that. You know that.
I mean, it's not like I'm going to hold it up to it because I couldn't tell you.
I've seen them both. You know what I remember? Nothing.
Exactly.
I remember the trailer better. When the one dog turned like the heavy metal music, and it's like,
yeah, the heavy. Yeah, that's what it looks like. It looks really.
It does. It'll be a good time,
and it's got a great pack. I think it's.
Let's see, and then okay, so sad news.
Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, you know it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
So recently, Brian and I did our recording of Superman 3 for the Patreon. And we did 3 and 4. It's up there. And the day that we went to do 3 without knowing, the actor Gavin O'Hurley, who played Brad in Superman 3, passed away. So I just kind of want to say that, like, dropped my phone. Just sad to hear a passing of anyone, but just.
Well, nice of you to lighten the mood there.
You're welcome. By dropping my phone.
But that's some kind of that is some Superman.
Yeah, it was. And then, last but not least, are you caught up with Young Justice?
I have not watched today's episode.
Okay, that's fine because we're touching on spoilers. People, jump ahead a little bit. An episode that kind of just really references the show. Here we go. Spoilers in 3, 2, 1. They killed Connor, man.
Dude, I'm still hoping that they took. There was a reason the Legion was there.
So am I. And I bring that up more because the last episode where Clark has to try to explain death to little John and why Uncle Connor is not there with them. And Clark has the breakdown about how he spent so many years at first pushing Connor away.
Yeah.
It was so good. And I've liked this season because they're doing these little story arc chunks. And they're back to more of the characters that I really liked. We haven't touched on Aqualad or Nightwing / Dick Grayson yet from the original team. And I've been hoping that something would happen with Wally from the Phantom Zone. Or not the Phantom Zone, the Speed Force, when he died.
I mean, who knows at this point what to expect. The season's called Phantoms. I guess you sense a tone with the episode. It's been fantastic to see.
So good.
Everybody's
it's such a better season than last season. I felt like last season started good, and then it just got all about Brion and Tara and Violet Harper. And I'm like, I don't care about any of you characters. I don't.
I mean, it's nice of them to the characters, introduce new characters, show entirely about them instead of team, even though the team was rotating. But it wasn't even about the same team. There were so many fraction teams last season.
They've just found a better way to give each character a little bit. Barbara Gordon.
And everybody's got their own little world that they're dealing with. Like, Deanna, Connor, them, everybody on Mars. There's a whole world of things going on here on Earth when they come to Artemis and Cheshire, Lady Shiva, Sensei, and Razo put it fair.
Yeah.
But still, like, everybody, so great. Such a great amount of storytelling. And I mean, there's no through line yet as to what the season itself is going to be about. Maybe there's something in this newest.
Yeah, I feel like something's going to come up. So.
I feel like something's going to show up. Yeah, absolutely soon. It's just a thought because I've enjoyed every episode.
All right, so let's move on and it's weird to say let's take a look back, but kind of a wrap up, I guess, official kind of goodbye to Supergirl. You know, a show that this podcast started and kind of was around. And, you know, the two shows that this podcast was started with have both come to an end. And it's kind of an end of an era. So we're going to do a quick break and come back and talk some Supergirl. And our last little bit of news, little tidbit. There was a picture that was tweeted out of Tyler Hoechlin for season 2, standing next to Amy Jo Johnson. That's right, the Pink Ranger herself. 10-year-old Tyler would definitely be very excited and confused by this photo. Superman next to Amy Jo Johnson, but he would wonder why she looks like she's put on a couple of years. But still. And he's wearing his suit, but it definitely looks like his suit, like they've removed some padding. And maybe his symbol's a little brighter. I can't tell. I still wish they would just make his symbol pop a little bit more and go back to the symbol how it was on his old costume. That's the only thing about this and if they would just make that and then lower the neckline, this costume would be perfect. But they've updated his boots. And what are your thoughts on his new boots?
I mean, I like that the red appears to be a little bit brighter, and like it
definitely they look brighter. The dip is definitely more classic Superman. They look a little, I don't know. They look a little interesting, just like not as solid looking, but they still look comfortable. The old ones look comfortable. These definitely look a bit more boost because they look a little higher on his costume. But his old ones, they look comfortable. It reminds me of like if you go and look at Michael Keaton's '89 Batman suits.
I want to see you tell me.
Say that. I'm recording. Where he had Nike cross trainers like mixed in to make his boots. That's what it kind of reminds me of, his old ones. The new ones look a little bit more boot-like. So. But it's just kind of cool that, you know, little things they've tweaked the costume. So
right.
But yeah.
Yeah. I'm only looking at it close-up. Yeah. I like them.
I do too. I'm just happy that they're they just finished episode 6 of season 2 filming. So it's pretty exciting that we're that far into season 2. But all right, let's continue. All right, Mark.
Do you like movies? Of course you do. Do you like comic book movies? Of course you do. Well, our Patreon is launched now. It's $1 a month. That's all we ask. $1 a month to hear great content. And right now, one of the biggest things we're doing on our Patreon is movie commentaries. I am a movie person, and I love to talk about movies. So what we're doing is at least 2 movie commentaries a month. You'll hear the wonderful voice of my wife, Jania, more often, and other special shows. Check out our Patreon at KryptonReport.com/Patreon. And all we ask is, hey, $1, it helps us keep the show on. We're not looking to get rich. We just help with the cost of doing this, and it helps a friend out. You loan a friend $1, you probably have $1 lying around the house and change. So check out patreon.com/KryptonReport. Sign up for the $1 a month and send us a message. You can be on the podcast. We can talk about something, anything you want to talk about. You can join us for a movie commentary if you want. So check it out.
And we're back faster than the Flash.
Drying my tears. End of
It is, and I was talking to a good friend of ours, of the show and everything today, and we were chit-chatting. He said, he's 4 episodes away from finishing Supergirl, and he said, it's kind of become a chore trying to finish this last season. And I'm like, it's so sad that this show that we started on such high hopes as the final season became a chore to watch.
Yeah. When it's laborious to watch a show, it's hard to really get much.
Look at that. James busting out the thesaurus, using some words, schooling us. That's what happens when you spend all day with a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old. But so we got some questions here, and we're going to kind of talk about some things. So thinking back, what were your thoughts of the show before the pilot? Just seeing the trailer. Do you remember that time, James, back before you knew me?
Oh, a little bit. I was excited, another super show. I thought it looked really good for the most part. They showed the red tornado pretty early on. And, what is that going to look like?
That was so bad.
So bad. I was excited for the show. I watched the pilot as it aired. I was definitely hyped for a Krypton.
I remember the trailer for the "This Is My Fight" song, "Take Back My Life," and I will admit, I had a friend at work who knew that I was such a huge Superman fan and everything that when the pilot leaked, he gave me a copy on a thumb drive.
Wow.
And I watched it. And then I still watched it when it aired live. But I didn't do any kind of review or any kind of comment or anything like that before. It was interesting how the Flash pilot and the Supergirl pilot both leaked. And I also had a copy of the leaked Flash pilot that I watched a lot because I loved that Flash pilot. And even when it aired on TV, I watched it live. I was so pumped for that show.
When that show came out, it was such a great evolution. Spun him out of Arrow. They gave him his own show. They did it right. His him being struck by lightning coming out of his home.
Now, thinking back, how do you feel about Supergirl, the series, right now as a whole?
It's something I'm looking forward to revisiting at some point in the future. But I know there's going to be some tough stretches.
Yeah. Looking back on it, it's so weird because I'm like, man, the first 3 seasons are so good. And season 4 is all right. Like, there's some good stuff in season 4.
Oh, yeah. Some of the stuff in season really. But season 4.
But then 5 and 6, I feel like just left a bad taste. That I feel like it just leaves a stain on the show. And that's right now, when we come back to it in a year or so, how we feel, we'll see. But right now, I'm just kind of like, I don't know. All right. Now we'll get into some more fun questions. Favorite actor or guest actor or character on the show? Guest actor / character.
They had a lot of people throughout the show. Lots of them were. I mean, one of my favorite people to see was him coming back. It's always good when he returns.
Okay,
that or Sam Witwer.
We love Sam Witwer. He's awesome.
Yes, he's just great in so many things. So
I am going. Mine is Carl Lumley. Every episode that had Sean and Marin together, those two, I thought were amazing. I think having him...
Solid choice. Solid.
Just, it was amazing to have him. And I had only wished that they could have found a way to get Phil Morris on the show. And had them as maybe Marin's brother or something.
Yeah.
And had some sort of just the three of them together in a scene.
I mean, who did they bring in as Malafa'ak? Who was his
Phil
voice?
Lamar.
Yeah.
Green Lantern.
Yeah, so good.
Malafa'ak. All right. So what do you think the best season of Supergirl is?
Oh, best season. Oh, that's tough. I mean, 1 and 2 were so good.
I'm going to say 1 and 3 is really where I think. I'm looking forward to revisiting season 3 because that's where Marin was. And we had Rain. So I'm really looking forward to kind of revisiting season 3 because that seems to be a very highly fan favorite season, which is weird because there was supposedly the quote unquote curse of the third season because the third season is where Arrow had some issues before going into the crap that was the fourth season. And then Supergirl seemed to bypass the third season slump. So,
but they grabbed it in the fourth season. Came in with some big ideas and shot them all down.
They shot them I'm not even going to say anything because that would be mean. So yeah, I'm thinking 1 and 3. First seasons I feel are always so good because everything's fresh. It's new, it's fresh. You don't have anything weighing it down. Things haven't got tired or old yet. So I almost feel like you can't say 1.
Yeah.
But even at the same time, 1 was really good, but 1 also had, 1 feels so disconjointed. Disconjointed. Wait, I've been watching too much Psych. I've heard it both ways. Because we changed the actress that played her mom. we had the non character that was not non. We had Maxwell Lord, and we had Kat, and we had California, and then we went to Canada.
The billionaire disappeared off the picture.
So everything changed. Do you have a favorite episode?
A favorite episode? I would probably have to go with the Flash crossover.
See, it's really tight between that one and season 2, episode 1, the last Children of Krypton.
Yeah, that's also great. Yep.
And it's kind of sad
that one
that's
kind of slipped my mind, but yeah.
And it's kind of sad. Those are the answers. Like the 2 episodes that have the guests, like not even her show. Supergirl, we love you. Or the one where John Cryer shows up.
Yeah, right.
But
those are probably the top 3 right there.
And that's kind of sad.
And then Man of Steel is probably
that was a really good one.
Top 4. So right there, name top. Yep.
The one where.
And we're naming them with the Friends titles.
That's what I was about to say. the one where Kara drinks coffee. The one where Marin loves coffee. Hey, my wife's home. Hi, wife.
Hey, babe.
The lovely Jania, everyone. She's back. She's home from work.
The crowd.
The crowd's cheering for you. There's applause. Alora's even crying for you. I hear her in the background. And what's sad is in the top 5 is not the series finale.
Yeah.
That'd be like in my bottom 5. But all right. So do we have a favorite season poster? Like that was one thing. Like I sent you the pictures where there's posters for every season had like a special Supergirl poster. Do we have a favorite season poster? So
between 2 and 4 in my opinion, probably.
I'm gonna go with 4, honestly, just because she looks tough. Okay, so let's talk about it. Season 1. The first poster is her. It's great. A new hero will rise. It's her flying over the through the city. It's cool. It looks good. Her arms out. Second one, season 2, the first CW poster. Her cape looks way too big. This isn't Spawn. Okay. All right. Season 3, it's cool. It's her standing there with like some destruction. It says "Miss Me." I thought that was kind of weird, but it's cool. Season 4 is like all red, has her looking down. It says "A force against fear." And it was the one that everyone was like, oh my gosh, they're going to do like a Red Lantern thing. Season 5, okay, this is where the show, I think, shifts from being Supergirl to everybody. Because the poster itself has Jimmy, Dreamer, Alex, the weird blue Brainy that I hated, Martian Manhunter. And I say Martian Manhunter because it's not Jean, it's Martian Manhunter. Lena and Kelly, and there's Supergirl in her new costume. And it's like this really weird white silver sheen with some blue, very diamond crystal look. I hate it. And then the last posters, all of them.
See, I like the coloring and stuff, but I'm not a big fan of, they use this poster for they've used this poster for every group for like the last 6 or 7 years. Forever. They've got like all of the characters in this collage.
Yep, that's the same thing season 6 is. Dreamer, Kelly, Alex, Jean, Kara, Brainy now is like regular Jesse Rath Brainy, and Lena. And Lena is much more prominent. It's kind of weird because it's just like Kara's head. Like you don't see her costume, and they're like inside the symbol, and it's like purple. It's like an 80s attack for the poster. So it's kind of like, I don't know, it's like too busy. I like 4.
I think 4 is second favorite.
What's interesting is, so I saw someone post today that they posted one of the posters from Birds of Prey that I hadn't seen before that I actually liked, where it's like Harley, the Birds of Prey walking on the street, and in the back is Black Mask's face. And it's the exact same kind of layout as the Zack Snyder's Justice League poster, like on the DVD case with Darkseid's face in the back and then the Justice League in the front. You're like, oh, I knew I liked this poster from somewhere. It was interesting. All right, my next question. And this is where we got to think, James. something you had wished had been different or happened in the series. So, what's something you wish had been different and something you wish you would have happened in the series?
Oh man.
One word, a lot.
Yeah. I mean, a couple of things I could point at would stress a lot. One thing being different, not taking so many Superman storylines.
Yeah.
And using them for Supergirl. That would change a lot of the series itself. I mean, sad to say that maybe Lex not being her biggest villain.
Right. As much as I love John Cryer,
as good as he was, exactly.
I think after Crisis, he shouldn't have come back. He should have still been existing in the world, with the whole Leviathan thing or whatever. Like, it should have been like, Lex Luthor is loved by all people, and just kind of left that thread out there that he's out there,
Yeah, working the humanitarian angle.
And then that he's, gone to somewhere else to Metropolis to run Luthor. Elcor, he's taking it back or whatever. And just kind of let him go. Because, I agree. I think the other day I joined Supergirl Radio and their call-in show, and they were talking about what are some things that was done in this series that you think would leave an imprint on the character. And I'm like, man, there's so much in this series I feel like they just ripped off from Superman, because when the show started, they wanted to do a Superman show, but couldn't. So they just used Supergirl. I mean, the reporter angle, Catco magazine, and all of that. They didn't really give her, there's so much that her character could actually have, this original 2 Supergirl, but they just made her a copy of Superman. And then she got her own identity for a little while, and then just became a member of the Super Friends as it ended. I wish.
Yeah, it kind of seems as the farther the show on.
And I just kind of wish the last
step back.
Yeah, I wish the last season they had kind of pulled back and let some characters go, so that when it got down to the last episode, it was a little bit more just Kara and not a whole cast of characters. And there's probably more
point at that treated 2 parts that.
We talked a little about it when we talked about the ending of just how some superhero shows really end in a finale that really makes you feel like that story is over. And I don't feel like that with Supergirl. I don't feel like it feels like that is over. And maybe next year or something, Melissa will show up for a 1-episode appearance or something as a special guest. But who knows? And
I would like to see.
I'd like to see her return on a flippin' episode of Superman and Lois. She don't have to suit up. Just be Kara for a little bit.
Come to the boys' graduation or something.
Right. Come on. Yeah, like we talked about the fact that when Clark and Lois got married, Kara's ship might not have even crashed yet. We're how they can change the timeline and stuff. But okay, so where do you think this show falls in now the 3 series that have ended in the Arrowverse with Arrow, Supergirl, and Black Lightning?
Oh man. Let's see. I liked Arrow the best for so long. I'd probably have had. I might even have to put Black Lightning as a second, because a lot of what it did was good,
and it was short.
Not at one. Yeah, exactly. If not at one point, it had its camp and stuff.
It was only 3 seasons or 4 seasons.
But yeah, it didn't last very long, so it had more good.
Right, like before it got too tacky, like it was like we're done.
Yep. And Supergirl reached into that into that era or into that time. So yeah, but it last of the 3 shows that have been.
And Black Lightning realized like how to start cutting back. I will admit, like it is tough because Black Lightning at least knew like not to go over 20 episodes. They always stayed under. They're like, we'll keep it short. But you know, Arrow is another one where the final season is almost, I don't want to say garbage, but Arrow's final season is such service to Crisis that it really wasn't about Arrow. You know, it's like if you watch the pilot of Smallville and then the finale, I think you would understand and see how that connects. You know, I feel like if you watch the pilot of Arrow and then watch the finale, you'd be like, what happened?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a completely different world after Crisis. But even
yeah, he's in like one scene or something. You know, like it's weird. And then we wasted a whole episode with a backdoor pilot that never happened. So, anyways, last question. It's kind of last 2 questions. Are you glad it's over, or would you have wanted it to keep going?
Oh man. Well, as it was, and it got. Because if they would have kept up with finding somebody and heard it.
Okay.
When each season it's so hard to keep up. I don't know if they had writing it.
So, you know, I'm just going to say I am glad it's over. It was starting to get, but in the same way, I'm going to say this. Had they ended it just slightly different, maybe I would have wanted it to keep going at least one more season, because the way that the show ended, I felt like it set up new storylines that would have been really interesting to see what happens. So that is my last thought on that for now, you know?
Yeah, I suspect we'll discuss the show in detail in,
and that's
in a little while.
Yeah, it'll kind of always be there. It'll start to become like how we reference Smallville all the time.
Yeah, I think so.
Be like, remember in Supergirl? So yeah, it's kind of bittersweet, but you know, we've had some time to kind of think on it and live with it, and here we are. All right, James, you want to get into some comics, man?
If you're enjoying this podcast, here's some of our favorite podcasts to check out. Digging for Kryptonite, The Aspiring Kryptonian, Superman the Animated Podcast, The Last Sons of Krypton, The Geek of Steel, the All-Star Superfan Podcast, It All Comes Back to Superman, and Superboy Legacy, Supergirl Radio, and of course, always hold on to Smallville. Check all those out, enjoy those supercasts, and remember, keep listening.
Superman vs. Lobo. Okay. We won't go into the whole book because we really didn't talk about too much on the first one. I'm enjoying this series, but I have one question for you. First of all, wait, I have 2 things.
I think I know your question, but I want to hear it. And
I did think that Zod and the other Kryptonians were very interestingly done. It was very much like the Ruby Spears series. And my question is, did Lobo bang Superman's mom?
It appears that way.
Yeah, and that's
and she does in the end. She does say, It has been my greatest honor to serve the town side.
Went upstairs. He just
Right. And I don't know why, but that just kind of bothered me.
Well, I mean, when it comes to the idea of their old society,
right.
Is it to them very much meaningless or what?
I don't know. I was just like, I really wasn't prepared for this, and I already don't like Lobo enough as it is. So yeah, it just kind of, it almost like, I don't know why, like it just, Lobo like that, it just tries to make Lobo like too cool. It almost makes me want to not get the third one. Just because I'm like, you're trying too hard to make me like Lobo. I'm not here to like Lobo. But that was all I wanted to say with that book. So Superman and the Authority special issue. It was cool. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. But it did kind of set up the fact that they did a mission before War World. And the art for this was amazing. Batman joins Superman and the Authority for a mission against basically the dark multiverse's League of Assassins,
and Shadows,
which is pretty flippin' epic, if you ask me. What do you think?
I mean, the Empire of Shadows is pretty awesome. It's the League of Assassins, Shadows, and they've taken over their entire world. Like, they've won. It's a world where Bruce took on the man as head of the and his descendants, his children, fight for him, fight for Talia. And they're trying to expand their control throughout the universe.
Which is interesting because I didn't get a whole, like, I read some of the dark multiverse stuff, but I didn't, dig in real heavily. I thought the Bruce of the dark multiverse became the Batman Who Laughs.
No, there were different Bruces on different Earths in the dark multiverse. So each Earth in the dark multiverse has its own Bruce, and something else different happened to him. So like all of the dark multiverse Batman, but Bruce as Batman, and something happened to him. He ended up taking the abilities of all of the Justice League members from each Earth. So there was one who took Flash's powers. He became Red Death.
Okay.
There, one where he was Doomsday, took the Day formula.
That one was epic. I saw the figure for that because I was like, oh, Superman Doomsday. Then it said like Bat Doom or something. I was like, wait, what? And so I was like, Daddy, what is this? I'm like, oh no, let's look at it together. So
yeah. I mean, if you read all those one shots, most of them are pretty.
I mean,
like one where Bruce becomes a Green Lantern, takes the lantern ring, or a lantern ring finds him when his parents die, and he chases down Joe Chill ring, and sheer willpower breaks the ring's like mandates, like killing this and that, killing out of cold blood and stuff. And he breaks his willpower. He breaks Joe Chill up.
That's pretty hardcore. Wow. All right. Okay. But so Bruce Wayne is the ultimate be a person of any multiverse. That's basically what they're trying to tell us.
Yeah, basically.
Of course he is, because, he's Batman and that's what DC does. So, yeah, that was definitely a cool read. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be, but I did enjoy it. And the artwork is outstanding. Just like Shao Kahn, you know. Outstanding. And let's see. All right, moving on. Superman 78, number 4. Which is interesting how we're almost done with this run. Like, we got 2 issues after this. But the issue opens up a little bit more of a back history on Kalu and how Brainiac went from being more organic to being more mechanical. We see basically Jor-El passing on his legacy mantle of a science council to his son inside the city of Kandar, and we see Clark trying to enjoy a beverage of Kryptonian style. And basically, like, his father just basically saying, like, this is your life now. This is it. This is here. This is now. And then we are back in Metropolis with Lex, who's trying to figure out a way to reach Clark using alpha waves, because, you know, that's what they do in Superman 78. They talk alpha waves. And Lois is there with him. Don't really know what Lois is contributing, you know, but other than she's the voice that talks to Superman inside Kandar, and he tells her to hang up before Brainiac knows. Of course, Brainiac, you know, he picks up on it and realizes that Earth isn't as meaningless as he thought. That's what Lex wanted. Brainiac comes back to Earth. And the little radio thing that Clark had on him, that Lex had put on him, is exactly what Jor-El needs to help them escape. And Clark redons his Superman suit as basically Brainiac takes Metropolis to be bottled. Yeah. And that's pretty much Superman 78. What do you think, James?
That's interesting. A little piece of Earth technology that Lex invented to be able to transmit through Brainiac's domes.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to make as much sense. It's 1978. Nobody knows about science.
Right.
We're not all hip to everything. We're all just like, what? What's this? So I enjoyed it. I'm enjoying this book. It wasn't like the book of like, oh my gosh, but I'm enjoying it. I kind of wish that it was a longer run in some ways, because it's kind of a refreshing Superman story. Not being bound by all the current stuff, but I'm thoroughly enjoying it.
I mean, yeah, I'm enjoying it. Well, kind of want to see what they do. Maybe we're lucky. It sells well. It got tons of Batman 66 and a bunch of Wonder Woman 77.
We did. This is all true. James only speaks the truth.
And Batman, or Superman's better.
Like I said, James speaks the truth. All right. So let's see. Let's move on. What's next? We got Superman, Son of Kal-El, number 5. This was the big one. The one that everyone knew about for 2 months before it came out.
Right? You know, that's a big deal, don't you know?
Yeah, let's spoil it.
Like,
because that's what we do. So it was good. I really like, it starts off where John's saving the guy who's in the I'm looking for his name. What do they call him? He was like burning.
I don't recall that. Because he just says starting with the man they use.
Yep.
I don't get him.
I don't think they have either. But what I really like is when he goes and he runs into the Flash, who is Wally. And I like it because if you think about it, John's interacting with like legacy characters. Wally as the Flash, not Barry. He was interacting with Nightwing. So I thought that was really great. Just kind of people that he could probably relate to. Because he even says to Flash, he says, "This man is like Fault Line, another enhanced person who has no memory of who he is. His powers are triggered by stress. I need you to look after him, Wally." And Wally's like, "Sure." And then we see John.
I was going to say, we're not saying Jean as much anymore.
Flying around. He saved a car. I love the shot of him saving all the people in the rain store in Luxembourg.
I was going to say, yeah, it's Luxembourg, and the banks have burst for rainfall river. And it floods the city. Saved people's cars, saved all out of their buildings and stuff.
I love it because I love seeing how fast he's working and just saving everybody.
I like how he keeps talking about having to hold back, and that he has to be more careful than ever because he knows that he's souped up, more powerful than ever.
Just like his dad.
Yeah. The scene where he rips the side off the vehicle, Zambezi, is pretty looking. Rips the side off like a tin can.
And then we see him in Costa Rica, takes the time to save the one girl, and then we see him with his COVID mask.
Yeah.
Where he's like, "I'm telling you, we can't take any more patients," the doctor says. "What are we supposed to do?" "I don't know." And he's like, "Dr. Edwards, call Metropolis General and let them know all these patients and transports are on their way. I'll do the rest." And we turn the page and he's carrying a huge chunk of bridge.
Yeah. A bridge that was closed. Bridge that had not been opened yet. Kind of nice to put that in.
Of course, because Superman knows how to take care of private property and public property. He's respectful.
Well, he is second generation.
Exactly.
It is something you would learn growing up, opposed to hiding yourself and then being made to save the world on day one.
I do like this part where the doctor says, "Superman, are you okay? You don't look so good." And he's like, "Something," and John's like, "Something's wrong." He's like, "I'll be okay." And like you see where his powers are just too much. He saves the person not paying attention, walking in front of the car, but he accidentally breaks their arm. And he's starting to go crazy, and then Ari shows up and takes John to Jay. And Jay's, talking about how, he noticed what's going on with him. And we have basically John just pass out. And it says, "Just sleep, John."
Yeah, the talk is the discussion they have together. How he needs to stop the world hoarding everything he's doing. Sometimes because of his overpoweredness right now, like broke his arm, how he's feeling and stuff. As it's not supposed to happen to me. That because he's running out of energy. He's tired.
Nope.
If you're half Kryptonian, half human, you're the first, you're the only. They don't, like, you don't know what's supposed to happen.
And then Jay makes him like some souped up headphones. Noise canceling headphones.
Yeah, what's really cool is he's so tired, he's like exhausted. So, but his powers are still going crazy. Still hear and see everything.
Which would suck so bad. I mean, I feel for him.
Well, you know, it's like some of the episodes we've seen or whatnot of like on Smallville when Lois had Clark's powers.
Yeah.
And she couldn't ignore but prioritize, you know. That was the nice thing that they described there. He was like, she told him what's happening, and it's like, it's not life-threatening. There's this or that. There's a hospital right around the corner, whatnot. You know what I mean? Like, he knew this. So it's like, you know, some people have to take care of themselves. Sometimes he has to intervene.
True. Good points.
So it must, and that's got to be champ, you know, to learn what not to intervene in.
And what's interesting is, you know, John wakes up and he's like, how long have I been out? And Jay's like, 9 hours. He's like, 9 hours? And then they're talking. And okay, so this is the build-up, right? It's really interesting. And I like where Jay's talking to him and he says, I mean, with my powers, I can't actually be hurt. You feel like you have to protect the whole world, but you don't have to protect me. I'm the one person in the world you don't have to worry about. And then you turn the page and they're kissing. It's a huge 1 page. And I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like the build-up's kind of like, if this was like storyboards for a scene.
I mean, in my opinion, it looks like in a scene, it looks like Jay goes in kiss and surprises John with it, but John doesn't seem against it.
Right. It just feels,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. But it's just like the last panel of Jay before like you turn the page is just kind of interesting because it doesn't feel like that's where it's going. So could you imagine? I would have liked to have read this without the leak, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's really interesting to see. Just like, okay, and then you turn the page like, whoa.
Yeah.
Well,
it's like the second to last panel, you could potentially see like, oh, is that a possibility? It might strike you as something, but just reading through it so quickly and then flip the page, it's like, yeah, that would be surprising because they didn't really hint at it on the page. Or in the stories, you know, it's been a friend.
Yep.
So the interesting thing I'm curious about here. I mean, one, this is not the curious thing I'm interested in. The full page splash that they have of it, it's very good art. I like it. It looked really good. Get that out there. But then the thing I'm curious about is Jay, is his powers. He can phase through anything. Does he have to consciously phase, or does he have to consciously like be able think go solid again?
Yeah.
You know, like, because he didn't know anything was happening when Fault Line crashed in, yet he survived the whole. You know what I mean?
It's a good point. It's a real good point. And like
it makes me wonder if he's like always in like phase mode, and then he has to think to go out of it. That would be an interesting way to do some shit.
I agree. And then John leaves his cape with Jay and flies off.
I do like that, though. He's like, right, oh no. What is it? I have to go. Seriously? He said, I know this looks bad. Think? It's not you. It's an armed robber. That's not sense.
He's Superman. He's got things to do.
Yeah.
And
But I like that he leaves his cape with him.
yep.
And he takes off flying without it, because I do like John's suit without the cape.
I've kind of been back and forth on it, to be honest with you.
It looks good with it. I just prefer it without a little. I think it looks better, and it makes it look unique.
And that's the other thing, is like it gives him that just little bit where you're like, it's, I think it's kind of tricky to draw John because you want him to look like his dad but not be his dad.
Right. Well, then you think of you think of Connor before him, and he had a super suit, but it was always covered with a leather jacket. He almost never wore just a super suit without it, and then he transitioned to t-shirt jeans look that he had going on. So Connor never really had
Yeah.
Superman suit to go out like that.
In
The New 52.
yeah. All right. Action 1036. Are you ready for this?
Damn.
So we have, is it Thalurdian? Common language of the planet Durla is being written down. And he learns from his scribe servant that Superman is on his way to World to free the Philosians, and he is outraged. And
Yeah, his writings and everything, he seems almost peace-loving and everything. And as soon as the word explosions is brought up, he loses it.
yeah, he seriously loses it, and it's very jarring, to say the least. He goes from being nice to this guy to threatening his life. This is War World Saga Part 1. And we see the team: Enchantress, Manchester Black, OMAC, Light Ray, Apollo, Midnighter, and Steel on their ship, all kind of doing their thing, getting ready. I think Superman should have been in some sort of sun chamber here or something. And what's interesting is following the art, because in the panel we see Superman's face. He doesn't have the white on the side, this graying hair on the side. But then later in the book, I think it shifts.
Well, yeah, I think
Yeah, it
that's
does. So it's just interesting to follow the art,
Well, it is. It's interesting to follow the art. Story, the art changes as the story is revealed. What Manchester gives later on. It still makes it very interesting if you trying to put these things together. So we had Grant Morrison, and then we have this Superman and the Authority. How the stories, I don't know,
Yeah. Yeah.
This Clark doesn't seem to be the Clark Superman back when JFK was assassinated.
That's just some of that Grant Morrison stuff that you're just all right, I got to figure this out in my own mind. Grant. Thanks a lot, Grant.
Right? I mean, I don't want to spoil it. We'll get there when we get there.
Yeah.
I'll definitely bring it up when we get there, because I'd rather just keep going beat by beat with this book, because it's a
good book.
really, really good opening issue.
At the bottom of the page is a quote I think is important. Superman says, "A lot of people down there will be free soon, thanks to you all, to all of you." And then we see, the planet. And Omac says, "I see electrical storms. I guess that means there's an atmosphere down there." What are the flashing lights? Superman says, that's artillery. So that's pretty hardcore. So Superman starts to fly, and we see a person. Manchester's talking as Superman goes and pays his respect to the dead person that's chained. It's like an entrance to the planet. And like what he says, paying his respects, mourning, I suppose. Why do you think he knew him? Nah, it's just Big Blue's way. Don't try to make sense of it. To care so much about everyone. You see him close the guy's eyes, the creature's eyes.
Yeah, takes the sign off of him.
And we see that they have the Superman symbol burned in to the planet. And then here they all come down. There's a projection that's talking to them.
Yeah, this is a crazy setup. It's like it's all a show, honestly. Like what Mongol is doing, putting the body out there, the symbol, and then what they see as they continue forward as soon as they land.
I mean, this is some Vlad the Impaler stuff here.
Oh yeah, it's big time.
There's just people on pikes, on spikes and spears with this Superman symbol burned into their chest, just like making a
creating.
Yeah, go ahead.
Creating a path. Follow the mass dead bodies.
And it says, follow the dead. And you see the tears in Superman's eye. And then he's walking and you see soldiers of Mongol. And here comes the team. There's a statue of Mongol. And then Superman, he makes his descent. He says, we only have one enemy here, and he is your enemy also. You've been taught that your chains mean strength and pride. This is a lie. Your chains mean slavery, and Mongol is your slaver. We are here to break this hold on you, to return home those who were taken by force, and to find new homes for those who have never known them. And then we see he refers to Superman as he who has never known war. And Superman addresses him as, who are you, friend? I be Shaitel, most prized servant of Mongol. I have served 4 who bore that name. I am the oldest living war Zune. I know this because I slew the others of my time. My chain is longer than any now living. My slain are beyond counting. I like this, all this stuff with Mongol, because I really think it's made Mongol a more interesting character in just his world, period. I think this is very interesting because I feel like this would almost be like, give me this story as like an animated movie.
Oh, big time, yeah. This would be a rated R movie. This would be a barbaric.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
I mean, what this guy's saying, like, his chain is longer. He's killed more people than his chain is longer than anybody else is there. He's the oldest living being on the planet. It's pretty it's pretty awesome and pretty awful.
And he says, nay, not alone. I stand with they named teacher. Teacher, mother, orphan, darling. and the unmade, who though he may be dead, can never die. They are Mongols' champions. Excuse me. And they have come to lay thy fellows in their graves. It's pretty intimidating. Though the one dude, the teacher, looks like Ebony Maw. Just going to say that.
Yeah.
Bloody hell. We may be in trouble, says Enchantress.
Yeah, the mother looks like she hits him with magic.
Yeah.
I would say magic, especially since Enchantress is thing in the panel. And it's like she removed magic and everything. And Manchester Black gives an explanation. Enchantress has been juicing him back up. So it's I can't hold her. Somebody tell us what the hell is happening. Radiation. Its powers have been fading from Enchantress, juicing him back up with her magic, keeping him going, and I've been using visions to make it look like he's still out. But it's just smoke and mirrors somehow.
And this is where we see Superman with the white in his hair.
So did he like age quickly? Did stress turn his hair gray?
I figured they were just covering it up as part of the illusion.
Or was it a magic, an illusion?
And then now that Superman's down, we have at last the old man who conquered Mongol, who was. You now face Mongol, who is, and your bones will adorn my banner spear for 1,000 years. That is an epic hardcore issue. Like, that generally puts fear into the reader for Superman.
Yeah.
So how are you feeling?
I mean, I'm more puzzled as how all this stuff fits its future state.
I'm trying not to think about that as much because I feel like when you start going there, you start to get lost sometimes.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not like, it definitely is not my focus on it because after talking about this, I'm excited to read the new action. Or I'm even more pumped to read the new action. You know, I was more pumped when I bought my 2 books this week to read Justice League Incarnate.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually went. I read that one. I haven't had a chance to read that. But as soon as we get off here, that's what I'm cracking open.
And we'll save that for our next episode. So until next time, dear listeners, just remember.
Look up in the sky.
The Krypton Report is a tier